Co joins us now from central London. Jeff, forgive me, I suspect I've pronounced your company wrong. Help me. How do you pronounce
it? Colin, it's Inenco.
Inenco. that's what happens, what becomes of making up company names. Never mind. What do you make of what Ofgem have said today? There's a slightly confessional element to it, isn't there, in the sense that they recognise that there are failings to the way regulation has hitherto happened?
Yeah, I think this is the end of somewhat of a long journey for Ofgem. As long as 5 years ago, they launched a supply probe when prices rise significantly, and there's always been the threat of a competition review during this period. Over the period as well, Ofgem have put in place a number of different measures to try and stimulate competition in the marketplace, particularly latterly with the retail market review. What I guess I am surprised at is the sort of extensive nature of the review. It's a root and branch review of the whole marketplace. Before it was published, I wondered if it would just look at particular segments of the marketplace, but this is looking at supply right the way through to generation, so it is quite a fundamental review of the market.
A fundamental review prompted by what? The politics of the thing, the fact that senior politicians recognise this is something which the general public care deeply about, the general public translating to voters come the general election, or the fact that actually Ofgem's just looked at it and recognised that the inertia's there from the old nationalised industries, that the market just isn't working. What's driving it?
I think what's driving it is, one, clearly I think you touched on it, is the sort of press frenzy, particularly around price increases, and that clearly sort of attracts attention and has helped to sort of reduce the reputation of the energy sector in general. But I also think that switching has slowed down. So actually the metrics, how you measure competition, people are not switching supplier. There is apathy in the market. Now, is that apathy because people just aren't engaging with the market, or the market just isn't competitive enough? So I think really it's two things. It is the political element. I think also it's actually the sort of key market measures to say, is competition working or not?
Yeah. I suppose you could argue the most eye-catching words from Ofgem today refer to this tacit collaboration. They're not suggesting there's any sort of cartel that's being worked here, and indeed the Chief Executive Officer of SSE was very forceful in his repudiation of that idea, but they are suggesting that in terms of the timing of price rises and the actual quantity of the price rises, they are aware of the market around them. I mean, that's only to be expected, I suppose.
To some extent, I mean, if you think about it, they're all faced with the same drivers. So they're all faced with sort of increases in taxation and distribution and transmission charges, and they're all sort of facing the vagaries of the wholesale energy markets. So it's no surprise that when they do increase prices, that they increase prices in a similar range. I also think there is obviously this tacit coordination is about somebody moving their position, and then how long can you wait before you move your position? Because if you can hold your price at a lower level for a period of time, you might win more customers from that company that's gone first in terms of putting up its prices. I don't see that there is a cartel. I don't see that there is collusion, but they are watching each other clearly because they want to win customers off each other where they possibly can. And I think it's unfortunate, if you like, that there's a 2 or 3 month window when those prices tend to change, and they all change to a similar magnitude, which draws you to other conclusions.
Jeff Whittingham, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now, thousands of people are at